Title: The Library of Lost Voices. Dust danced in the air, dappled by the faint rays of sunlight that filtered through the high, arched windows. Blackwood Library, a mausoleum of forgotten wisdom, greeted me with its sepulchral silence. A silence, I mistakenly thought, broken only by the occasional crunch of my shoes on the marble tiles. I had come drawn by the legends circulating about the Forbidden Section, a repository of texts so dangerous that access to it was strictly prohibited. It was said to house books written in blood, bound in human skin, and containing secrets so dark that they could corrupt the soul. The librarian, Mr. Abernathy, was a thin, hunched man with skin as pale as parchment and sunken eyes that seemed to gaze beyond reality. He had warned me with a raspy voice, like the rustle of dry leaves, "Young man, there are doors that are best left unopened. There is knowledge that is best left unsought. This library holds secrets that should remain buried." I ignored his warning, of course. The prohibition was an irresistible magnet for my academic curiosity. I had spent months studying the archives, seeking a justification for access to the Forbidden Section. Finally, I found an obscure clause in the Founders' Will that allowed a scholar with my line of research to request supervised access. Abernathy, with obvious reluctance, guided me through a labyrinth of dusty corridors, each flanked by shelves overflowing with ancient tomes. The air grew denser and colder as we ventured deeper into the heart of the library. Finally, we reached a solid iron door, adorned with strange symbols that seemed to writhe before my eyes. Abernathy pulled a rusty key from his pocket and inserted it into the lock. A metallic sound echoed in the silence, followed by a guttural creak as the door swung open. The Forbidden Section was a gloomy and claustrophobic space. The shelves soared to the ceiling, covered in books of disturbing appearance. Some were stripped of titles, others adorned with grotesque illustrations that turned my stomach. The air was thick with a rancid odor, a mixture of dust, mold, and something indescribably putrid. "You only have 1 hour, Abernathy hissed, his voice trembling. "And remember, do not read anything aloud." I plunged into the task of cataloging the books, trying to ignore the growing sense of unease that invaded me. The whispers began almost imperceptibly, like the distant murmur of the wind. But as time passed, they grew louder, more defined. They seemed to come from the shelves, from the books themselves. Low, barely audible voices articulating incomprehensible words in dead languages. I picked up a book bound in dark leather. It had no title, only a symbol engraved on the cover that looked like a snake coiling upon itself. As I opened it, I felt a chill run down my spine. The pages were written in an intricate and elegant calligraphy, but the words were strange, unknown. Suddenly, a voice resonated in my head, clear and sharp, although it did not come from my ears. "Do not read these books." I startled and dropped the book. I looked around, but Abernathy was on the other side of the section, examining a shelf with a somber expression. Had I imagined the voice? I picked up the book again. The voice resonated again, more insistent. "Stay away. Do not awaken those who sleep." I ignored the warning. Curiosity was a powerful force, stronger than fear. I began to decipher the words, slowly and laboriously. They were fragments of ancient spells, forgotten rituals, invocations to dark entities. As I read, the shadows around me began to move. It was not my imagination. The shapes twisted and elongated, taking the form of barely sketched human figures. Specters of authors, trapped in the library, condemned to eternally repeat the words they had written. One of the specters, an emaciated figure with his face hidden by a hood, approached me. He extended a skeletal hand, trying to tear the book from me. The voice in my head screamed, frantic, "Don't do it. Do not complete the ritual." But it was too late. I had already spoken the first words of the spell. The library shook. The lights flickered and went out, plunging us into darkness. The whispers turned into a deafening clamor. I felt a dark and cold presence at my side, a being of pure evil that had awakened from its millennial slumber. The specter of the author cried out in desperation, trying to steer me away from the invocation. Suddenly, Abernathy appeared from the shadows, brandishing a crucifix. His face was pale but determined. He shouted a prayer in Latin, his voice resonating with an unexpected authority. The dark presence recoiled, weakening under the strength of faith. Abernathy grabbed my arm and dragged me towards the door. We ran through the labyrinthine corridors, pursued by the furious specters and the invisible threat we had awakened. We reached the iron door and Abernathy slammed it shut, turning the key with trembling hands. The sound of the lock clicking into place echoed like a gunshot in the silence. We collapsed on the floor, gasping for air. The danger had passed, at least for now. "You should never have come here," Abernathy said, his voice exhausted. "Some secrets must remain buried." You have brushed against madness, young man. Be grateful to be alive. I returned to my life, but I never forgot the Blackwood Library or the horrors I had witnessed in the forbidden section. The lost voices still whisper in my dreams, reminding me of the fragility of sanity and the danger of seeking forbidden knowledge. Now I understand Abernathy's warning. There are doors that are best left unopened. There are secrets that are best left unsought. Because sometimes, the most dangerous books are those that read you. And sometimes, curiosity does not kill the cat, but condemns it to an eternity of terror. The Library of Lost Voices is still there, waiting for its next victim. And I know, with a chilling certainty, that one day, it will call me again. Because there are books that, once read, never let you go.